Hi and welcome to ThePrint. My name is Karanjeet Kaur. I'm a journalist and an editor. Let's talk today about the deportation of over 100 Indian citizens from the United States of America. The sight of dozens of crestfallen men and women exiting the US military plane that landed in Amritsar last week cast a pall of gloom over the news cycle. But for me, the defining image of India's deportation crisis isn't the 104 Indians bound and handcuffed by US officials. It's the Punjabi politicians who appeared in voluntary chains outside the parliament. Gurjeet Singh Aujla, who is the Congress MP from Amritsar, stood in these self-imposed shackles. He demanded answers about why our people were treated like criminals and excoriated the government over its betrayal. Others followed suit. The chorus of the opposition also swelled in tandem. How dare they handcuff Indians? Where is our national dignity? Why didn't the government arrange a more respectable mode of return than a military aircraft, like the government of Colombia? Manish Tiwari, the former INB minister and Congress MP, challenged the government further by asking, what is the point of all these summits with Donald Trump if the PM of India and Dr. S. Jaishankar cannot ensure that our countrymen are not treated in the most humiliating and degrading manner? For his part, an uncharacteristically subdued S. Jaishankar, who is India's External Affairs Minister, assured the Parliament that the US was only following the standard operating procedure established since 2012. But let's come back to the self-imposed shackles. In turning the very real chains of deportees into props for protest, our representatives have, once again, pulled off a spectacular feat. They've managed to center themselves in a crisis that was never about them. This theatricality and the seriousness with which the MPs have essayed their roles might make us laugh, but it really shouldn't. This is a humanitarian crisis and should be treated as such. The stories that emerged from the deportees are harrowing. Harvinder Singh from Hoshiarpur, Punjab, witnessed a fellow traveller drown in the sea and watched another succumb to the unforgiving Panama jungle. And for this extremely risky journey, he paid a price of 42 lakh rupees. Another deportee, promised legal entry by an agent who pocketed 30 lakh rupees, found himself stranded in Brazil for 6 months before being forced to attempt the border crossing that would end in his arrest. For a moment, if we can set aside the illegality of these acts, we might be able to see the vulnerability behind these decisions. We might see the vaporizing of dreams and the choices we make when all the options seem like bad ones. Now, social media discourse around these deportees offers a window into our complicated view of aspiration. Take our keyboard warriors, for instance. Until the budget week, they were complaining about India's prohibitive tax rates and poor quality of life. They turned into wealth advisors overnight, dispensing financial advice in YouTube's comment section. If only the deportees had had the good sense of investing this money in mutual funds or other financial instruments, they said, admonishing those who have emptied their savings accounts, mortgaged their ancestral lands, and borrowed at extortionate interest rates to scrape together these astronomical sums. But beneath this performative finger wagging lies an unsettling truth. We recognize a little bit of ourselves in these desperate leaps of faith that the deportees took. This hits home because every middle-class Indian family has a cousin who left for higher studies or an uncle who got married abroad. The methods might vary, but the underlying impulse to transform one's circumstances remains unchanged. To be unequivocally clear, these illegal migrants broke the law. But what's legal isn't always just. This public sympathy, unprecedented for illegal migrants, stems from the knowledge that in a different reality, with a slightly altered pack of cards dealt by fate, their gamble might have been our own. However, this capacity for empathy is precisely what makes our response to migrants at our own shores so perplexing. Why does this tenderness evaporate when the conversation shifts to Bangladeshi immigrants or Rohingya refugees? In 2018, Home Minister Amit Shah, then BJP president, labelled Bangladeshi migrants termites. He had said at a rally in Delhi, Should they be thrown out or not? Millions of infiltrators have entered our country and are eating the country like termites. Should we not uproot them? He repeated it multiple times at election rallies, prompting censure from international bodies. The path to mass atrocities, like the 1994 massacre of the Tutsis in Rwanda, is often paved by powerful politicians comparing humans to vermin. This inflammatory rhetoric soon materialized into policy through the NRC in Assam, a state where these tensions have had historical resonance. About 4 million residents, many of them Muslims, found themselves potentially stateless. The Rohingya crisis offers perhaps the starkest illustration of our hypocrisy. Refugees from this minority community, often termed the nowhere people, are detained at holding centers for the crime of choosing survival over certain death. The International Court of Justice has recognized the extremely vulnerable status of Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar. But India's response to those fleeing this horror has been to treat them as a security threat rather than survivors of ethnic cleansing. As far as we are concerned, they are all illegal immigrants, declared Kiren Rijiju, then Minister of State for Home Affairs in 2017. They have no basis to live here. Forget illegal migrants from beyond our borders. Our response to very legal internal migration is just as contemptible. Look at any major Indian city or town, and you'll find it built on the backs of migrants from UP and Bihar. They are the construction workers of Mumbai's skyscrapers, domestic help in Delhi and Gurgaon's gated colonies, and agricultural laborers in Punjab's fields and Kerala's plantations. In many of these states, the local population has moved abroad, creating labor vacuums filled by internal migrants. Yet, our relationship with these essential workers remains deeply cynical. The same middle-class sensibilities that empathize with deportees from the US will advocate for demolishing illegal colonies. We want their labor, but not their presence. Their service, but not their slums. Perhaps what the US deportations have inadvertently exposed isn't just the limitations of our Vishwaguru ambitions or the desperate gambles of our citizens, but the fundamental brittleness of our moral imagination. Our empathy extends only as far as our ability to see ourselves in the suffering of others, but no further. Until we recognize that dignity isn't a privilege of citizenship, but a fundamental human right, we'll keep deciding whose dreams matter based on which side of the border they were born.